Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone is still happy from that result that we got the other day. Who saw that one coming? I can't say I did. I thought City were going to wipe the floor with us personally, because we have been the Dr. Tottenham Hotspur, and no, it went totally the opposite way. I know there's a lot of questions to be asked on it. Why did it go that way? Was it down to City? Was it down to Ange totally changing it? Was it just that we totally took our chances? I don't think there's much you can complain about really on that game. I think a lot definitely stood out. Couple of players stood out in particular, but for me, the thing I loved about that game, we actually looked like a team. We actually looked like 11 players linked as a bloody team. And I don't think I've seen us play like that for a while. Even with the good games we've had, it's usually been a couple of messy people on the pitch and others, I'd say, half carrying it. But yeah, totally destroyed them 4-0. Did we dominate it? No, we didn't. But there again is your proof, people, that you do not need possession to dominate a game. And this counter-attacking football, I thought it was boring. I thought it wasn't the way. I don't think anybody can tell me now, surely, direct, fast, counter-attacking football is the way that suits this set of players best. Call it opinion, I'd say that's more of a fact these days, because that's about 3 games against big clubs we've done that in now, and we have dominated the game goal-wise. It's the way that suits these players. I get we're not going to be able to play every game. It wouldn't be the smartest way to do it, but it's definitely going to work against the majority of teams, and it definitely makes our players look more capable on the pitch, happier on the pitch. Maddison had his breathing space. He loved it. Right, but I'll go into that. I've got guests on the side, which I'm going to jump in soon. And just going to say hello to a few people. And Queen Ellie, how are you doing? Come on, you Spurs. Great result. Now let's keep it up. Consistency is the key. Yes, it is. With all of this, it's all good having these results coming here, there, and everywhere, but you need consistency. And consistency is one thing we haven't had. If we now go and lose this to Fulham, you sort of look at it and you just think, what was the point? Same as when we went and lost to Palace. Same as when we went and lost at Ipswich after good results. It sort of makes this one irrelevant for me. If we go and lose this next game against Fulham, not that saying it's going to be an easy game, far from it, but we have to get some consistency now. It's all good bigging up the manager and everything that he got it right here. Right, now show me you can do it for another few games. Let's start getting some results in there regular, not just one in a blue moon. It's all good having a great, spectacular game like it was. But then if you're not going to be consistent with it, again, to me, it just makes it irrelevant. Jimmy Hotspur, big up Dan and the chat. Big up to you, mate. Tony, how you doing, fella? Big up panel and chat. And Ange out. Conte Futbol in. And then James, I see you on there, mate. I'll have you on in a second. What the F is Angeball? Good afternoon, Dan and the panel. Good afternoon to you too, mate. What is Angeball? I think you said it right. Again, this proves that Angeball is not the best way for this team. But I will talk about that with a few people. And Mark Cook, yes, Dan, hope you're well. Big up chat, hope you're well too, mate. And Tony, smash and like that, subscribe. Thanks, mate, appreciated. And Jonas C, big up everyone on the panel. Ange out, Levy out. One win doesn't change the fact that Ange has been clueless the last 12 months. I have to agree on that one. This is where we need consistency. I'm not going to change my mind in 5 minutes. Sam Smith now, the banger track. Thank you. This track is banger. Thank you very much. And Lee, big up, guys. Big up to you too, mate, with Common You Spurs. Anthony Clark, AFC. Big up, Dan. Always good to see you on here. And Nicola, it's funny how much better we play when we don't play Angeball. Who would have thought? Who would have guessed? Who's been saying it for 13 months? You'd never know, would you? And Nicola also saying, just before I bring on a guest, I said we would beat Manchester City jokingly, but I didn't expect us to destroy them. And then Rooty Toot just saying, big up. And Ange Madders had 2 weeks intensive training during the international break. Right, going to bring on my guest to say hello. First guest here is James. How are we doing, mate? And then we have Stel. How are you two doing?
Very well, mate. You?
Same Spurs, different day, but at the moment, good Spurs. We shall see when it comes to Fulham whether it's same Spurs, different day.
Yeah, true.
How you doing, mate? Still?
How am I doing? Antonio. Yeah, I'm. Listen, great result, best win of the season. We've binned Ange ball and we've brought in a bit more of a Conte ball. So if this is the way forward, I can get on board with it. But we'll see how the next couple of games go. If we go back to Ange ball, not for me. So, but yeah, listen, best result under Ange we've had since he's been at the club. No doubt.
Without a doubt. And I think it just proves again, which I will go into a bit later on it, the Angeball, like you've said quite a few times, and you've said it as well, James, it can work against certain teams, but then there's other teams where you just got to totally change the system. My question is with this one, is it really going to be more that he intentionally done that, or was it that Man City play and make you do it like that? Now, the way the wing-backs weren't inverted, thank fucking God, it looks like a total different show at the back. So I think there's got to be something in it with Ange's idea on what he wanted to do. They was obviously going to press us hard. They do with anybody they play. But that result, 4-0 up at City, I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree, to be fair. It's one of those things that, I mean, all we can hope for, or I can hope for, is that Ipswich, he felt like we felt, and in his interview he said, I need to go back to the drawing board. So hopefully, let's hope he did do that.
Well, it is a big hope, isn't it? Because the way we played, that is pretty much how City make, I'd say, 90% of teams play against them, isn't it? So that's where the big question is.
Agreed.
But he looked like he got it right with the subs as well. He looked interested on the side of the pitch. The game went our way. I mean, they did have chances and they did mess it up. In the first 15 minutes for me, I was starting to think we're going to get absolutely destroyed here. And then it just went our way. I mean, Maddison, brilliant game on him. Kulusevski, I think he was the only player you could say was played out of his best position as such, because I still think he's a lot better in the middle, a lot more consistent. But apart from that, it just seemed like everybody was in their right position to play at their right sync, to play at what they are best at. And we also got it right on when we came back of changing the formation as the game was in play. Whereas usually we just don't do that. So was that just the players using their brain, or was that actually Ange looking like he had used his brain, figured out their weak spot in the middle and gone for it? I mean, what do you two think on that?
Good stuff.
I think it's a lot of things, Dan. First of all, we always do well against Man City. Any which way you look at it. Nuno's beaten them, Ange has beaten them, Poch beat them, Conte beat them, Jose beat them. We are their bogey team. Any which way we look at it, we are their bogey team. There's something about us, just like Chelsea's our bogey team. No matter what we do, everything goes wrong against Chelsea. Yeah, everything seems to go wrong for Man City when we play them. So I think that's the first thing. Let's have it right. Secondly, look, we did play a Man City team that's in a rut. So we played them at the right time. So we've got to factor that in. Because when Conte beat them 3-2, we had a much weaker team. And Man City were 10 games unbeaten when we played them under Conte. So there's got to be a little bit of nuance in the fact that this is the first time we've seen City wobble like this in about, God knows, 10 years. So that's another factor. I think the fact that we didn't play the typical Angeball, and that's down to Ange, I think. We didn't play a high line. We didn't piss around with the ball at the back non-stop or hardly ever. We were more direct with balls going forward. We did play more transitional and counter-attacking football. So the way we played is completely different to what Ange has typically done. We did not have domination of the possession. The fullbacks weren't inverted most of the game. So all those things that is Angeball, we did not do. We didn't do it. It's as simple as that. And that is on Ange. Ange set that up. I also think, second half, we're 2-0 up. Everyone's thinking, all right, here we go, Brighton again. But look at the way we managed the game. We were deeper, more compact. That's not Angeball. That's not what he's shown us. So he's gone to a different way. And that is on Ange. He reverted to that. Also, players like Kulu always step up in this game. And he stepped up again. Like, for me, he was our man of the match.
Kulu does love City, doesn't he? He does seem to love playing against City.
Mate, he's brilliant in this game. Even Son always turns up. And people say, oh, but Son wasn't great. Mate, he set up the first goal. So Son did his bit. Did he score a goal? No, but we didn't need him to because others did. So I think that factors into it. And also, Man City were woeful, right? Regardless of what we think, they had an XG of 2.4. So if people are going to talk about Spurs XG, look at our XG. Well, let's look at Man City's. 2.4 and no goals. They fucked it. So I think when you put that all together, that's what happened. I don't think it's one thing. It's lots and lots and lots of things. Some of it is kind of, Spurs v Man City. This is how we roll. Part of it is Ange stopped being Ange. And part of it is players really stepped up in this game. And we've seen them step up in a number of games this season. So I think it's a number of factors, Dan, if we're going to be honest about it. The big question we've all got is, what happens against Fulham, Bournemouth, Chelsea? That's the big question, isn't it?
That is where we go to now. I mean, it's all good living on this game, and we're going to live on this game until we play Fulham. I mean, forget the Roma one as such at the minute, but we are going to live on it, going to enjoy it. But for me, okay, that's done. That's dusted. Brilliant. Now you've got to look at the next bit. And with what Phil Coy is saying here, it's not Angeball, though, is it? He's just adapting his tactics. Look, I can't stand the phrase Angeball, like you say. Hey, it's a word I don't use, but I can't stand it either. But it seems to be the only way that a lot of people understand it when you're referring to how our manager plays football. I mean, if you want me to call it a different type of football to the way Ange usually plays, I will call it suicide football. And I think Angeball sounds a bit better than suicide.
Dan, I don't understand the question. When he says it's not Angeball, he's just adapting tactics. No, he didn't adapt the tactics. He completely changed the way we went about the game.
It's completely changed the whole system as far as I'm concerned. That was not how we usually play. Not at all. Not just with the way the players played as such, but the way we set up the game, the way the wing backs weren't inverted, like you said. Now and again, Porro popped in the middle a little bit. The way the centre backs stayed back like a bloody pair of centre backs and didn't have to sit on the halfway line. Even down to the point, I don't know if you two noticed it, but a couple of times we had three at the back. When both Adoji and Porro pressed forward, at least one of our centre mids dropped back that much more to cover the back two. And it was almost like we had three at the back at times. We covered our arse. That is not how Ange usually plays.
Can I address something here, right? So Phil Coy says, so what you're saying, Ange can adapt his tactics. No. There's a difference between strategy and tactics. And this is where fans, I don't think, get this bit. Strategy is how are you going to win the game? What's your thinking? Example, if we dominate the ball, if we dominate possession, then we can create chances. If we dominate the ball, if we dominate possession, they don't have the ball, so they can't score. So my strategy of winning the game is to dominate possession. The tactic is how are you going to deploy it? What's your formation? Who plays? Who moves where, when to play this possession game? Ange's strategy is possession-based football, right? He plays possession-based football. It's why we play out from the back. It's why we play through the lines. It's why we try and get into the forward areas and pass the ball to someone that can potentially score. The tactic of how he deploys it is high line, inverted fullbacks, always play it out from the back no matter what's going on. That's the tactic. He didn't change the tactic. He changed the strategy because we didn't dominate possession. Do you understand? Pep, when he adapts his tactics, he still has majority of possession. He doesn't change his strategy. He adapts the tactic, but the strategy stays the same. We didn't adapt the tactic. We adapted the strategy. So the tactic also has to adapt because now you've got a different strategy. And this is what Angeball is. Angeball is a strategy. It's not a tactic. Angeball is what I don't like. He changed Angeball. He changed the strategy. Think of it like a boxer. Go into a fight. How am I going to beat you? Should I come guns are blazing because I've got lots of power and energy and strength and I think I can overwhelm you? Or shall I play defense, throw a couple of jabs and whatnot? And once you're tired, because I've seen you get tired easily, then I'll come into the game. That's the strategy. So how am I going to deliver that strategy? I'm going to play defense for the first 5 rounds. Then I'm going to box the next 5. That's the tactic. This is what is happening in football. We as fans think strategy and tactic are the same thing. They're completely different. Angeball's a strategy, not a tactic. Sorry if I went on a bit, Dan, but this is...
No, it's fine by me. I ain't in no rush. Right. Something I'm going to say here then, yeah?
I just wanted to clear, I don't want to clear that up. Phil Coy, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Phil, you seem to always have a lot to say, mate. And a lot of disagreements, and you do agree with things as well. But you seem to very much disagree with this when we talk about Angeball, whatever else. So what I'm going to do, mate, I'm going to put a link on here just for you, nobody else. Come on here and discuss your point with us. There you go, Phil COYS. There's the link down here. Come on here and discuss with us on what you believe, basically, because you seem to be very set and very opinionated on it. So come on, give us your opinion. I mean, with what he said there, so what are you saying? Does that mean Ange can adapt to whatever else? Well, it shows there's a possibility he can, because he did. The big problem is he going to do it on a regular basis? Usually you might see a little tweak off him here and there, which sometimes, a lot of the time, they seem to be irrelevant. Sometimes you notice them. But this was a show that he can adapt to a whole game. But can he do it on a consistent basis? That is what the question is going to be. I mean, James, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. I think, like what Sel said, the strategy is press, high press, keeping the ball, possession-based football. That is the the style. So it's about getting the tactics right to play that. That for me is what he needs to work on, it, i.e. Ange. And giving Ange credit, I think he did that well the weekend, because the first 10, 15 minutes, I was with family members and was watching the game. And within the first 10 minutes, it was 3-on-2 and the two centre-backs were left against 3 attackers. And I said, this is why we're never going to win. And then 10 minutes later, change. Everyone dropped to 10 yards back. They all stayed defensive back 4. So if he... I mean, I hope, I wish, I pray, I'm a Spurs fan, that he noticed that and he changed that and said, you know what, I'm going to adapt these tactics now and see what works. So yeah, let's hope that he has seen what we've been seeing and he actually adapted his tactics.
It did. I mean, to me, it looked like we started with the idea of normal style. And it did actually look like that he sussed it after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
This ain't going to fucking work. Not a chance in hell, especially here, which he should have really known that anyway, but let's just forget that bit. And he just went, right, plan B, which is what we've been screaming for how long now?
Yeah.
And I think most of us has all agreed one of the main things he needs to fix up is not using inverted wing backs. How much better did Maddison look there as a playmaker, not having 2 centre mids up his arse, not having 2 bloody centre backs on the halfway line, not having 2 inverted wing backs sitting on him? He just looked a different player, didn't he? Or was that just, it was his birthday? I think it was the fact that he had the space to do what he's there to do.
I agree. I completely agree. I think it made a difference having somebody on the right wing that could play football as well. I felt Kulu embarrassed Johnson in a way, in the fact that one's a good football player and one's not. One's going to score goals, i.e. Johnson, but you could tell the difference in quality and in football and ability when Kulu was out wide.
Mm-hmm.
But also, one thing about Kulu as well, I saw him...
Still come on. It's all right. I was just saying, Phil COYS, still come on.
Yeah, I also saw Kulu has adapted his game a little bit. How many times did he beat his man on his right foot and deliver the ball with his right foot? He looked like he wanted to get down the line as well as cut in. It just makes him a whole new player. It makes him a better player. So hopefully he continues to do that.
Well, if he can continue to do that on the right-hand side, because the thing is, we've seen him play well on the right-hand side, but I think everyone finally agrees with what I've been saying for bloody 18 months, is that he is more consistent and a better player in the middle. I mean, would you two agree with that?
Depends who we're playing.
Sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, it depends who we're playing. It depends.
I would say I would actually have him on the right if Porro has the license to overlap.
Mm-hmm.
So then he can drift and do whatever he wants, sort of like right wing, right attacking forward, right attacking mid. If Porro overlaps, I think you kind of give Kulu that kind of free space on the corner of the penalty box, and so on. If that makes sense, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does, because basically what you're giving him permission to do is be an inside forward. Then we've actually got someone who can cross that bloody ball in there, and then Kulu hasn't got to rely on being very predictable what he is, that he has to put it on his left foot. Okay, he did a few things with his right foot there, but I don't think you'll see that as a regular thing, because he is significantly stronger on his left foot. And that was an epic cross he put in there as well. I think he was man of the match. I think Maddison only very lightly, got man of the match because he scored the 2 goals. And that's one thing I must admit pisses me off in football a lot. Someone who scores 2 goals or whatever, they get man of the match no matter what. But Maddison did have a man of the match game as well. But for me, Kulu was man of the match. I think he just bossed that pitch completely.
I've got a bit of a...
No, go on, James.
I've got a bit of a different one. It is in my man of the match. My man of the match was probably Ben Davies, to be honest. I don't think he got enough credit. I mean, there was a few blocks that he got on, wasn't it? Haaland had a shot, he got his foot to it and flicked it past the post. Like, I thought he was, if we take Ben Davies how we know him out of the picture, I thought he was fantastic the weekend.
Yeah. I was going to bring him up with. I'm going to bring him up with Jagusin anyway. But you're right. Ben Davies for me is not one that I've been desperate to get rid of. Yes, 10 years at the club and everything, and that he should have been gone a while back, really. But the players we had to get rid of, the way I worked it out personally, and I spoke to you about it as well, is I sectioned it off into 3 blocks basically. Ones that just have to go come love nor money, ones that we need to get rid of, and ones, okay, they need to go as well, but it's not a priority. Yeah. And Kulu was one of the ones for me, along with Ben Davies, that I had in the 3rd block that I was thinking they might as well go.
Kulu bullied Man City. He literally, it was like a 16-year-old versus a 10-year-old in the playground, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He absolutely bossed them. Guardiola is no pussy. He freaking put him in his place, man. He was nutmegging. He was dribbling. He was shoulder barging. He was... Listen, Kulu went to the Etihad and took a massive dump on their pitch. He shat all over that stadium, man. For me, Kulu, hands down, was man of the match. Yeah, look, you can give praise to Davies, Dragusin, lots of players. I totally agree.
He had 100% dribble attempts.
Mate, they shat themselves every time Kulu was on the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the point I was making...
I thought Kulu was...
easily for me, man of the match.
If he scored, it would have been 10 out of 10. If he
scored, Elias, I'd come to you straight after. The point I was making was Kulu is one who I was actually willing to sell, along with Ben Davies sort of thing. Not high up on the rankings, but if we got a 30, 40 million offer for him, take it. Because we've just been playing him out of position. And I think he's been a bit of a waste of a player to an extent of what his capability is. Kulusevski.
Well, I won't say that we are like really playing him out of the position because
we have been, though, Elias. We have been. I've been telling people this for 18 months because at Juventus they sussed him out that he just weren't doing it on the right hand side, and Ronaldo couldn't big him up enough when he played behind him as the attacking midfield or like the false nine. And I've just felt where for the past 2 seasons we've played him pretty much out of his best position, where it's just so up and down for him on the right. I was willing to let him go. I mean, Elias, give us your opinion on Kulu. Everything.
I was just gonna come on that because when Kulu was playing under Conte that time, he multiple times when he came on, he said that his preferred position is actually behind the striker. And he said that multiple times, but yet we were saying that we were playing Kulu as a number, as in the right wing position, but he was supposed to be the number 10. And when he actually came on, the fans were wanting a number 10. I really don't know why were we not playing him as a number 10. Is it the system changes and all that? And I think it was Conte who wanted to play the 3-4-3 rather than the 3-5-2. So I think he would have worked really well in the 3-5-2 as well, in my opinion. If we had good holding mids behind him. But that time our midfield we had Højbjerg and Winks. So I guess that's why it just didn't work out. So you need to have like 3 up front. So yeah, but now I think that the way he has started playing over the last couple of game weeks, and when he's playing in the much more free role, you can see the kind of spaces that he occupy. He's playing really well. Like if you just look at his stats from the City game, he had 100% ground duels won. He had 50% aerial duels won, and he had dribble attempt success 100%. He made 4 dribble attempts, and then he was successful in all 4. I mean, for me, if you play against a team like City and you're giving that sort of stats, that's an extraordinary performance in that sort of a arena as well. Like you are playing them at Etihad, you're not playing them at home, and you are like really battering them. And against a defender like Guardiola, which like when around the World Cup time we were hearing like he's the one of the best defenders in the world.
It is what it is, in my opinion, on that one. Give him more of a free role or stick him more as an attacking midfield central. You will see better out of him because that is his more ideal position. He does it for Sweden, and he said it enough times that is his favourite position. That's why I was willing to let him go at the end of last season, because I just feel he's a waste of a player of what we could have actually got out of him. But now it seems like we are starting to get it again. And the other thing is with Kulu, and I can look on this as a bit of a, call it a bit of a downer, I think. You can say it with most players that it's a mentality thing, a very confidence thing. But I do think he is a very confidence sort of player that needs his confidence. And if he has a couple of poor games, I do think it has a bit of an effect on him more than certain other players. I'm not saying he's no Richarlison. I'm not saying he's no Johnson. But he's definitely a confident sort of player. Would you agree?
He is a confident player. In fact, I would say he's slightly overconfident. If you have heard his recent views after the game, he came out and literally said that I think I have something that no other player has. So you can't compare me to any other player. I thought that was a little bit of a like a cocky comment coming after just one game.
I think you're missing the question. I think what I was asking was, does he need confidence to play? Where certain players don't necessarily need everything to go right for them to play good. Is he more the sort of player that, I'm not saying refer him to Richarlison, but if things don't go right for 2 games, he falls to pieces? Because I've seen him do that a couple of times.
I think he's slightly more consistent than Richarlison. Definitely, a player like Richarlison. There's no debate on that. That if you were to play Kulu or Richarlison, Kulu has a much better work rate, and I think he has a much better mindset as well. I wouldn't say that he needs confidence to sort of like get going, because we have seen in the past as well that he has had spells where he was just like decent. He was not that great, and there was a lot of criticism towards him from the fan base as well. But yet we see he is putting that sort of performances, and he has not been scoring that many goals, by the way. Because if you say that footballers, they usually get a lot of confidence, like for example Brennan Johnson, you see that he has been gaining confidence from the goals that he scored against some of the lower level teams. Then he started scoring those goals. But Kulusevski, he has been putting consistent performances where he's been performing overall well, giving assists, getting other players to play well without the goals that he is getting for himself. So I think that that's a wonderful trait that we have in him as a midfielder. Yeah.
Okay. Phil, how we doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. Hope everyone's well.
Yep. Right, you seem to always have a very different opinion when it comes to Ange as a whole. Yeah? So we'll come to that one in a minute. I'll ask you, same as I asked the others, though, quickly, seeing as you're here. That game, and mainly Kulu, what is your opinion on the whole thing? I mean, you said that you don't think... You spoke about Ange adapting, Angeball, this and that. Give us your whole opinion on everything.
I think the way that Ange plays normally, I don't think he's done it that often this season. I think he's changed it before the game started. He's changed it in game as well, but I think throughout the season he has changed the way he normally plays, and I think he should be given credit for that. Like he did against Villa, like he did against City in the Carabao Cup, and like he did against City in the last game. So I think he is capable of changing his style that he normally plays. And he needs to do that on a consistent basis. I mean, different opponents are, you have to change your strategy. Like Stel says, I didn't put it across probably right in the comments, but his strategy needs to change for certain opponents. And that's
your mic is proper crackly. Would it help if you turned it down a little bit?
Yeah, 2 seconds, mate.
Yeah, extremely crackling.
Yeah, come back to me, mate, and I'll sort this out.
All right, not a problem. I mean, if you have to reboot it, and I'll let you straight back on.
Okay, mate.
I mean, I can see. I mean, still, James, Elias, I can see where he's coming from, but I can't say that I've seen enough of Ange over the past 18 months that he's been here that he has adjusted and adapted to games enough. I've seen him make an odd tweak here and there, and certain games I think it was more put on us that he adapted. And then there's been too many games where I've also seen him there where he should be changing things and he hasn't changed nothing. But I do agree with what was said against Man City. I do think he actually sussed that out, and that was what he wanted.
I don't think I've seen Ange make too many subs or changes when we're in a losing position. I feel like when we're in a losing position, he tends to give up and say, well, let's try to get out of it. We are who we are. That's it. I think this weekend was the first weekend at 0-0 that I personally believe 0-0, 15 minutes gone, that he said, right, this needs to change. I think that for me was the best thing that I saw, as in that's the first time I think I've seen him make an adjustments or adapted in game before we went a goal down. Normally, we make the right strategies and things like that, but when we're winning, and it's all well and good when we're winning, but we need to make them at the key moments to actually process and actually get ahead.
What did he change after? 10,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Well, if you look the first 10 or 15 minutes, I think it was the attempt where the ball got played across the box and Haaland hit it and Vicario saved. I think then, if you actually go back and look, we lose the ball and it's 3 attackers and the only 2 players that are actually back are the 2 centre-backs. But that attack is only 2 on 3. After that, we kind of dropped by 10 yards and the wing-back stayed left back, or the fullback stayed left and right back and didn't push forward or push inside. So for me, that first 2 attacks or 10 minutes, I'm sure it's the attempt where they kind of cut it cross and Haaland takes a shot first time and Vicario saves it. After that point, we tend to drop 5 and the wing backs don't push up as much. So that is the moment for me that I saw he adapted.
Okay, so go on, Phil. Go back to what you were saying, mate.
Yeah, is my audio all right now? Is it?
That's much better. Much better.
James, I don't think he adapted at all. I think Man City were coming through the middle of us, and then we squeezed the middle, but then they just came around the sides, and then they were getting the balls in from the flanks. I just think Man City missed the chances they created. We hit them with a sucker punch on the counter, and that 1-0 rattled City. And then because we got the second one quickly after, I think Man City, a club on their knees right now, struggling, I think we sunk them. I don't think he adapted during the game. I think he set us up differently before the game. I think
more so. Yeah.
This is where I disagree, because we got caught out in the first 10 minutes. Exactly. The way that first part went, I was like, here we go. We've lost this. We're way too high up the pitch. One through ball down the left wing and they were in. After that, they didn't do it. And I know I think it's a bit of a cop-out and a bit easy to say Man City are on their knees. They did not do that to us again after that moment. So for me,
James,
credit where credit's due.
Okay, Man City had an XG of 2.4. They had plenty of shots. They created plenty of chances throughout the game after the first 10 minutes. I think what happened was we got those 2 goals. They're not in a confident place. We grew in confidence. We started saying, do you know what? We can play here. And we began to feel and play with more confidence as a team. And Man City, they couldn't get back into it. And they kept creating some chances, but I thought Vicario had an outstanding game. Our defenders had an excellent game, and we just managed to shut them out. I don't think we adapted and stopped them.
I think he's changed it more like before the game starts than actually adapting in game this season.
That's what I think.
I think he's changed it more that way. But yeah, I was just saying that, you know, the way he normally plays, I don't think it works for these players. You know, the way he changed it against City, we looked more balanced, we looked more fluid going forward. And and it seems to click the way we played against City. And if he changes and goes back to inverting fullbacks, and I just think that in that way, I don't really trust the manager. I think if something works first time, you need to keep that the same way of playing. You do have to change with different opponents, different teams. You have to change the way you play, but I think he needs to change the way he normally plays. To be honest with you, I don't think that works.
Phil, he needs to stop playing Angeball.
See, this is where I disagree.
The Angeball thing, it just pisses. Like the Angeball, right? It's just his way of playing. That's it. Angeball is just a media thing that's just popped out from somewhere. It's low bollocks, if you ask me. But like, it's just his formation and his style and his strategy. It's the way the fans understand.
That's what Angeball is. If it's his thing, then it's Ange's way of playing ball. Angeball. It is a thing.
It's true. It's just a media thing for me. I just think it's a bit cringe. It's a little bit cringe. But
if you go onto Fuad Kadani, We Are Tottenham TV, The Athletic, Chris Cowley, go everywhere. They use the term Angeball when they do their videos, when they do their tweets. They call it Angeball. Yeah, so because fans are doing it as well.
Yeah, because that's been thrown out within the media, and it's a common thing to say now. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day, you didn't hear these type of sayings for different styles for managers. You didn't hear this sort of shit.
I think it's an invention of Spurs fans, actually. Like before he joined Spurs, did you ever hear this thing called Angeball? I didn't.
Well, in Scotland, they was already meant to be calling it. In Scotland, they was already meant to be saying it, from what I've heard. Not that I would know of, because I don't really pay any attention to that league. But it has been a word that's been.
There was no such thing as projects either. You just come in and win games. No. Just come in and win fucking matches. Now it's project.
But like, I just wanted to just cling on to what I was going to say before as well. In terms of him adapting, he's changed different players' positions as well. Do you know what I mean? Maddison in the City game last, he played him in the 10. He did drop back certain times within the game, but he was more, focused in that 10 position. Kulu's obviously come inside. He played on the right wing and inverted it against City, but he's adapted with player positions as well, not just his formation and his strategy. He's changed certain positions to make them play better.
Can I add on to that? I think. Sorry, Sally.
No, go.
I just wanted to say, basically, I think Ange would only adapt when he has whatever. For example, for what I have seen, the times when he has adapted, he has had no choice. For example, in this game, he didn't have WDW, he didn't have Romero, so he had to play that very sort of like a defensive back line. And then now the choice of Kulu and Maddison both playing together with Sarr and Bissouma, I think what he was trying to do was he was trying to play the players who are better on the ball overall, rather than those players who can actually give away the possession easily, or the players like Brendan Johnson, when there's a chance they will fluke it. So in that way, I think the players he played, I think other than Ben Davies, I think the most of the players are slightly okay in terms of like their confidence on the ball. So that's the only two changes that I noticed in that game from Ange. But other than that, but he had no choice again. He was playing against City with most of his defense out, so he had to adjust. It's not like he wanted.
Elias, listen. I'm gonna say something here. For me, Ange gets no credit. I'm not giving him credit. I'm not doing this, and I'll tell you why. And I'm happy for everyone to disagree. Against Galatasaray, we are getting absolutely pummeled. One ball after the other, over the top, round the back for us, and the defense is pushing up high or halfway up the pitch. Not the halfway line, but halfway from goal. Drop the defense, man. Drop the freaking defense. He doesn't do it, and it's ball after ball after ball. This game, we did not do that. We didn't do that. So I'm not going to credit him when I've seen what he doesn't do as well. Crystal Palace, we're 1-0 down. There's 5 minutes to go in injury time. Pass at the back, pass. What are you doing? Get the ball forward. You need a goal. Does he change it? No.
Okay, that's a good point.
Stelios, what's frustrating?
Phil, one sec.
Go on.
I'll let you jump in, right? Against Man City, Dragusin gets the ball, pings it long to Kulu, and we get the first goal. If you look at the stats this year, goals scored from long balls or long passes, Spurs are bottom. He doesn't change it. In this game, we went long with Dragusin. These players cannot play from the back. They're technically not good enough. Ben Davies can't do it. Dragusin can't do it. Romero is too slow at it. Udogie fluffs his lines. Porro's not comfortable. Van der Ven can. But that's not good enough. You need everyone. But he keeps doing it. This game, we were pushed back. And we weren't playing at the back, pop, non-stop. So I'm not going to give him credit when we get it right because he gets it wrong just as many times as he gets it right. I will give him credit, right? I will give Ange credit when we continually, for at least 5 games in the Premier League, not Europe and Carabao Cup, because you can play weak teams, it doesn't matter. The Premier League, where every game is hard, there's no easy game in the Premier League. If he can go 5 games unbeaten without this pass at the back, this inverted fullback and this high line, if he can stop all that shit and just do what our players can do and we go undefeated, I will give him a lot of credit because he would have achieved a 5-game streak of not losing with an average group of players. I think the average.
100%.
One sec, Phil. I'll come to you after.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at as a fan. If I'm, just being honest about it. That's where
I'll get it. Yeah.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with you halfway. Still, I'm going to meet you halfway there. Yeah, because I'm a person that you give credit where credit's due, and then you slam them when it's due. Yeah, same as I have done with Johnson. For me, do I think Johnson's a good player? No, I fucking don't. Has he done good on getting the tap-ins, whether they're tap-ins, whether they're whatever, considering the amount of shit he had in his back, where a lot of players would have just sat in a corner? I'll give the boy credit where it's due. Ange, I will give him credit where it's due for the other game. Well done. You got that bang on. But I'm not going to blow sunshine up his ass completely because I now need to see that for consistent amount of games.
Yeah.
So I'm going to meet you halfway there. I'm going to say, yes, credit where credit is due. Well done, Tottenham. Well done, Ange, for getting it right. But now get your fucking act together and be consistent with it as well. So I don't think he deserves sunshine up his ass, but I think he deserves a fair play. You got it right. Let's see where it goes. Go on,
Dan, it's so frustrating, right? Because the way we played against City, we changed it completely, right? And it worked, right? And there's been multiple times where he's reverted back to type, and that's the frustrating thing with this manager.
This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm still saying.
He can get this right with this group of players if he just is consistent with the way we play when we're good performances, right? If he reverts back to the top, then
your mic's gone. Your mic's gone. Your mic's.
Phil, you know what it is? If you just stand a bit further back from the mic, I think you'll be all right. I think it's because you're really close.
Okay. He keeps reverting back to type, basically, and that's what's frustrating with me. It's not working. Is my mic still?
Yeah, it's bastard, mate.
Your mic's gone up shit street.
So you know what it is? If you put headphones on, it'll stop it. If you can get some headphones, you just need some headphones. Yeah, that's all it is. Are you on your mobile phone?
From my point of view, to have an opinion on criticizing somebody, you have to then praise. Otherwise, that's like I don't think that's fair. I just think I don't know what the right word is for it, but I think if you're big enough to, like what you say, if you're big enough to criticize, then when you do spot something in the correct manner, you should praise it and then hope that we go down that route. I'm not saying you pants down and do what you got to do, but I'm just saying you've got to be able to say, look. You've got to be able to say, look, you got that right, mate. You got that right.
Yeah,
well done.
You're right there, James. But I don't think he deserves mega credit for it because I'm
talking about the one game. I'm talking about you could say, look, you've been crap all season, but you know what, Man City, you got it right.
Right. I'm agreeing with you, and I think Stel is as well. But I'm not going to make it out spectacular until I see.
No, neither am I. Neither am I. Yeah.
I'm going to give him a shitload of credit. Well done. But I'll
I
give
disagree
him
with you both.
more credit after 5 games.
I disagree with you both.
No.
Look. If we credit every win, and we credit and we criticize every loss, and we win half our games, and we lose half our games, and we end up 10th, are you going to credit him for that if we come 10th?
No, I would then do like I'd take everything into proportion. So I would credit the wins, think blah blah, and then at the end everyone would go.
Hold on.
That's
if
not what
we
he's
come
saying.
10th, if we come 10th, winning half, losing half, are you going to credit that?
No, but that's these overall achievements.
You just credited all those wins that got us. This is my point.
You did, James.
No, I don't. I'm not going to give him credit. Is in the respect of like, we beat, for example, we beat Ipswich at home. If we did, I wouldn't go, well done, mate. All the credit in the world. You beat Ipswich at home. But what I will do is, you went away to Man City and you got it right, mate. That's a big game. You stepped up at the big moment. The problem is, we'll probably go to Fulham and lose.
Conte,
I also gave them credit though. Still, that's what I say. I also gave them credit as well as criticise when they needed criticised.
So here's the thing: if I was coaching a group of kids, I'd always praise success because you want to build confidence and you want to develop them, keep them encouraged to stay in football and not go to another sport. It's different.
Yeah.
When I've got a grown group of adults and they're paid to perform and get results, I'm not praising a one-off win, because then the standard that you're setting is, if you win, I praise you. If you lose, criticize. If I want to be a winner and we want to be the best, I have to praise consistency. I've got to praise that it's not a one-off, which is why, and I get where you're coming from. I do understand. Come on, man, we beat City, give them some praise. Do it the next 5 games, man. And then I say, do you know what? You boys are delivering. You're kicking ass. I'm going to praise this because you are showing it's not a one-off. It's not a fluke. You're not, I'll turn up this week. Next week, I'm going to play like absolute shit. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I think if we're going to have high standards, we've got to be harsher when choosing when to praise. But I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. I'm not dismissing what you're saying.
I agree with what you're saying. Was it? He don't deserve sunshine blown up his arse. I think the reason there's a lot going to this one is because we did go to the Etihad and absolutely tear him a new arsehole.
It's because we all thought we were going to get battered. We all thought we were going to lose.
It doesn't matter what we thought was going to happen. That's at the Etihad, and we just done them 4-0, and they walked off the pitch like fucking John Wayne.
But the fact that
he's going to get that. Yeah, but he's going to get that excess bit of credit because of who it was. Whereas if we'd have just gone and cooked Crystal Palace 4-0, you'd have said, yeah, fair play. I want to see the next game. That's why this one, he gets that bit more credit. But now, I'm with you. I want consistency.
Agreed. So do we know. I presume so do we know.
Give me 3 wins, 1 loss and a draw. I'll be saying, okay, it looks like we're taking steps forward. I mean, rest you. How do you see that as well?
No, it's still quite bad.
No, go on, say what you got to say.
I'm just going to say that I agree with Stel in the fact that it needs to be more consistent.
It's even worse, man, I think.
Yeah, it's gone worse.
I mean, what are you doing it through? You're doing it through your phone or computer?
Phone, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why your speaker's so bad.
If you go to the settings on StreamYard that you're in, if you go to settings and then pick and pick headphones and then pick the headphones you've plugged in.
Yeah.
Because I think what's happening is your mic and your headphones are using the same. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you can have.
Say it, speak.
Is that better?
10 times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give you no credit for that.
We got it.
If I do 5 more today,
you do 5. Yeah, give me 5 more, and I'll praise you.
No, I was just going to agree with Stel in the fact that we do need to be more consistent. We do. Do you know how many years it is since we've won 5 games in a row? Do you know the last time we've done that?
Was that with
Poch?
Did we even do that with Poch? Did we even do that with
2021
Poch?
March.
Yeah.
2021.
Mourinho.
2021 March. Yeah. So, I mean, we should as a club that we are. We shouldn't be. We should be having 5 games in a row. We're good enough to do that, and I just think Ange needs to adapt in games. He does. I just think 5 games in a row. We haven't done that for 3 years. I think that's just ridiculous.
Your mic's gone again, mate. Your mic's gone again. Still, you're a fraud.
It took out the headphones. He took off the
Listen, we've all
headphones.
got excuses. You're a fraud.
No, he's got them off.
Yeah, you've got to have it so the sound comes out the headphones and the mic is used as the mic. I mean, that's what I do with my AirPods. Otherwise, they clash, basically. But, I mean, I agree with basically what everyone said. He's just going to get the extra credit because we just went to the Etihad and tore him a new arsehole. Simple as that. And I'm all happy with that. But now, if my man now goes and gets done by Roma and then gets done by Fulham, I'm going to come down on him even harder like a ton of bricks for the fact of, mate, you've just done it 4-0 at the fucking Etihad. And now you just got cooked by Fulham. And then, if anything, I think he'd deserve more of a bollocking for doing it like that, for the way he has been. And that is the problem, where people are saying, right, but you've got to live on this win. Yes, we are. But as Spurs supporters, I know everyone sees it different. You can't blame us for looking over our shoulder because of our consistency of being so fucking inconsistent this season that we're just waiting for the next thing to go wrong. Okay, call it a negative attitude, call it what you want. But to me, that's just realistic. You can only go by the evidence this season. What went on at City, you would have bet your house on it that did not happen. That happened. Excellent. Where's it going to go from there? Is he really going to see that this is more the football that can get us places? I've been saying for 13 months now that this team has got fast, direct, counter-attack football written all over it. Now, I get we're not going to do that every game. Like you always say, Stel, so do you, James, and a couple of others, that Angeball will work against certain teams. But then there's other teams where he needs to adapt his style totally and play it to the way of the team. Against City, I think he adapted it right and he actually played with the cards he had. Not tried to make the cards play his way, which I think is a bad habit he's got.
The way we played against City, why can't we play that against lower teams in the division? Why can't if we can beat the best team in the country, the champions, why can't we do that on a consistent basis against the lower teams? This is what I don't get. That's why it's so frustrating that we can't get a run together at the moment.
Phil, do you think? Okay, I'm just thinking on my toes here, because we played Man City a couple of weeks ago and beat them, and we both our goals one of the goals came on the transition, the other one came from us being high up in the ball, got squared back to Saar for that goal. Do you think he watched that game and thought, what if I try and replicate this at the Etihad? Do you think maybe because he had a bit of a taster for it, he knows they're shit hot, that he kind of did it on this occasion, whereas you play Crystal Palace, you don't play them for another 6 months. You play Man United, you don't play them for another 6 months. And whereas he just played Man United quite recently. Do you think maybe that?
Because it's still fresh in the mind, is what you're saying. Yeah. That might make sense. It does make sense, but I just can't seem to get my head around if we play against City like we did. I thought we dominated in most part of the game. We can't do that against the lower teams like Crystal Palace. It baffles me how we can put a performance in against City like that and just revert to type and just not performance in like we did against City. It's baffling.
this Phil is what I've always meant, and I think I can vouch for a couple of others about adapting game by game. As far as I'm concerned, you have to adapt to every game, not totally change the system. But the example I always give is you play Liverpool, you get Salah coming down that left, you make sure you double him up. Ange don't do that sort of thing. When he plays his way, he plays his way. And we've been damaged enough times for it. There's certain teams where his Ange bullshit will work, where you put the pressure on them, they can't hack it, you will score goals. And then there's other games where you have to be more, what's the phrase they use? Pragmatic, sit back a bit more, hold the game a bit more, catch them on a fast counter attack. It's being a good manager as far as I'm concerned, because Pep don't play the same way every time. There's certain games where he sits back a bit more. And I think the main problem we still do have that he does need to sort out, I think we need a DM more than anything. I
think we are getting that guy from the guy that is on our. We have a deal with that club. Very
Cordoso.
Yeah, from Real Betis.
Cordoso.
He's so average, man. He's not.
Yeah,
good.
but that guy is average.
He's not good, man.
The only thing I'll say about him, and this is trying to find a positive, all his defensive stats are really good. His interceptions, his tackles, his winning headers in the air, that side of things is pretty good from what I've seen. And that if he's just going to do that, that may be what we need, then he could fit. But yeah, I'm the same. I don't think I've seen him and gone, "Kai, you're amazing." Like, he looks average.
But for me, James, I think we need a type of player like a Palacios type of player, where he's not, he's not a good footballer as such, but he does the dirty work. That's the sort of player we need. We need a leader in that.
That's what this guy looks like. All of his defensive stats are pretty good. His interceptions, headers, all of that looks really good. From what I saw, it might not be correct from what I saw, but
Brian Gill had really good stats as well.
No, I know, but we can only judge by what we can see, And to be fair, Brian Hill looks like a good player now.
He's ripping it up in
I think in the Premier League, you need a powerful player in that position that can play football. So if you think about it, Dembele, Wanyama, Partey, Rice, Rodri,
more of an anchor man as such.
They've got to have that physical kind of Paulinho. Look at that. Is it Barbella, the one for Brighton? You need someone that's got. Who's the one that Aston Villa signed from Everton?
Anana.
Yeah, I just feel you need someone that's got.
I wanted us to get him.
Someone that's got that physical. This guy from Betis, he looks like he's going to get absolutely. Do you remember when Arsenal signed that Torreira from Italy? It was a disaster. Like, I think that the only player I've seen who wasn't big that was brilliant in that position.
Conte.
Yeah, Conte. He's the only one.
Makaleli.
Carrick.
Well, Carrick was a big lad.
But Carrick was a big guy.
A small lad.
Alonso.
Xavi Alonso was a big boy.
Yeah, Carrick was a big guy.
I mean, basically, the way I'm taking what you're saying is instead of just, there's several ways you can play a DM role, but what we need is what I call an anchor man, a rock, a Wanyama standing there, basically.
Destroyer.
Whatever you want to call it.
They've got to play football. Like Scotty Parker, he was a strong lad, but he could play ball. Scotty Parker could actually play football. Like, we need someone that's good on the ball because Ange's system needs a technical player.
Well, this guy, the Cardoso guy, if we are getting him, you will see he's good defensively, but he's average at like his passing. His passing accuracy is not that great. Under pressure, he would give the ball away too many times. So yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Cardoso is the Brennan Johnson of number 6s, man. I'm telling you, he's the Brennan Johnson.
Can I?
You right, Detrex? How you doing?
Good. How's everyone doing? Happy to see everyone.
You sound it.
Especially James.
You sound it, mate.
I'm pissed.
You sound
No, I just want to say... No, because, honestly, I was expecting the battering and Ange sacking this morning, but we won 4-0, so fuck.
So what did you think on that game then, Detrex? Seeing as you're the fresh one on here, what did you think of that game? What did you think of how Kulu got it right? What did you think of Ange adapting to it? What did you think about the whole game as such? Did he adapt? Did we get played into playing like that? Did he adapt at the start of the game and change it? Or was it after 15 minutes he changed his mind?
Predicted a win. He messaged me saying we're going to beat and watch. He predicted it, you know.
Yeah, I said it. I said I would not be surprised if we won that game. But once again, it took him 18 months to stop inverting both fullbacks. You see the big difference when you have two center backs sitting deep and two overlapping fullbacks. Look how we did. We killed Walker. We killed Gorvadil on the wing. That's how we should be playing. The midfield, honestly, Kulusevski, I know he played right wing, but what a game. That's actually the best game he has ever played for Spurs.
Quite possibly.
Like one of the best performances I've seen in a long time from a player since Harry Kane.
Against playing like that all season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't been playing like that.
No, not like that. Not even close.
Kulu's been our most consistent player.
100%.
He has been, but he's been up and down as well, like the rest of the team. Anyway, Detrex, go on, mate. You were saying. Sorry.
One more. Vicario has been getting love's stick, but he played extremely well on Saturday. Great performance from him. Super happy. But you know what? Like, really, I hope it continues because, like, for me, this game doesn't mean anything. It's not the bigger picture. I want to see Ange continue what he did. Play those two overlapping fullbacks, and you'll see a better performance from us. And stop playing a high line. And one, what's his name? Alex called Haaland John Carew. Well, he was right. Haaland had a stinker.
Well, you see with Haaland, yeah. I mean,
that's like
go to a
ages
couple
ago.
of their players as well. Haaland, for me, I mean, people are going to shoot me for this one, but he's not what I would call. I mean, this is maybe where age has caught up with me a bit, but he's just not really someone I would call a world-class player.
He's adapting.
I would say he is on the same level as what Son was. And Son, for me, was never a world-class player, but he was a world-class finisher. For me to be a world-class player, you got to have more to you. Not just to that one position you play, but more to your game as a whole. And without scoring goals and maybe holding up the ball at times, I don't think there is actually much to Haaland. And if he's not getting fed his
he's not a great footballer. He's not a great footballer, but he's. Whereas
you look at Harry Kane, he's good. He's excellent at what he does, but he's not what I would call a world-class footballer.
Because if you,
I don't know.
Whereas Harry Kane is, I call him a world-class player because
he's good at everything.
It's not just because he's just fucking good.
The thing is, right, if you want a striker to get goals, Haaland's the best. He's top of the scoring charts right now.
I agree.
Right? If you want your striker to get goals, but to also complement the team and be able to drift out wide, get a ball in, drop deep, pick up, link up the play, you want him to be the complete player, then there's no doubt Kane, Lewandowski, these type of players are levels. But again, the primary job of a striker is to what? Get goals, and he does get them of everyone else.
No, so but it's like
different type.
No. I don't agree with you still.
Ideally, what you want in an ideal scenario is you want a Haaland.
Yeah, but still, have you noticed like
hang on. Slow down. Let Stel finish Detrex and then.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in an ideal world, you want a Haaland and a Kane, because then you tick all the boxes. If you look at Man United back in the day, they had Wayne Rooney, who was of that Kane Lewandowski mold, could do everything, but they also had someone that could just get goals as well. They always had that combination. So I think ideally that's what you want.
Can I just say something? So if we look at Vicario, for example, we say he's a phenomenal shot stopper, which is the primary role of a goalkeeper, but we give him stick for not being able to catch a ball or play out of the back. A striker in this day and age should be doing everything. Goals and playing around with the team. And Haaland, for me, I'm looking at the same way we give stick for Vicario. He's good at one thing, which is his primary job. But overall, not doing his. He's not good at it, like passing,
Detrex,
carrying the ball.
Haaland, they win trebles, they win titles. Haaland has taken City to where they need to be, right?
No,
And
but
by the way,
if this,
a goalkeeper's main job in the modern game is now 60% distribution.
but even a striker's main job in this day and age should be goals and playing around with the team. It's not like before, like we just have to be a poacher.
It depends.
Striker now like completely changed compared to before.
If you've
But that one,
got
Detrex, depends on your tactics.
Savvy got 8 or 9. Sorry, if you've got 5 or 6 players that can create, what do you want? Someone that can put it in the back of the net. So with Haaland, it works. The problem is, if he isn't putting it in the back of the net, now what? That's when you're saying, shit, we need a Kane. We need a Lewandowski. We need we need someone that can actually do something a bit more now.
No, but De Bruyne is back, so I think he should be scoring goals.
Because for me, Haaland, the only way it will work if they play like a Conte system, which is low block and run.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way I would play Haaland.
City
Like,
doesn't play that sort of system.
no, if they play the same way Conte with Son and Kane, the way they did, Haaland will have even more goals than what he has right now.
Well, the thing that showed with Haaland, and what I'm saying about him, is he can't feed himself. He needs to be fed. Whereas Harry Kane can feed himself. That's my only... what he does, same as what I say with Son, when it came to finishing, world class. When it came to him as an all-round footballer, no way. But Stel's also right in what he's saying. If he's perfect for that position to just put it in the back of the net if you're feeding him, that's what he's there to do. Well, he definitely didn't do his fucking job the other day because he did not look on form, and he could have had a hat-trick there on another day.
I know a bit off topic, but with Davis and Dragusin, the way they played against City, do you guys think that they should keep their place for the next game?
I would play Dragusin and VDV before.
Can I answer that question?
Romero.
That question, because I saw Stelios. I think he was with Sava. He had a debate about Ben Davis and Dragusin. I completely disagree. I don't think they should be playing the next game. Not the both of them.
I don't either.
I think Dragusin, for me, if we don't play the same way as we did against City, Dragusin and Ben Davis should not be playing. They shouldn't. It doesn't matter about keeping your place. It's about like, how are we going to play for the next game against Fulham and Bournemouth? Are we going to play a high line or are we going to sit deep and counter? Because you know Dragusin and Ben Davis are going to get smoked. Look at what they did against...
high line, Adama Traore is going to eat us alive.
Yeah. And look at what happened Galatasaray. People forget. That's the problem. They forget what they did, both of them.
And Galatasaray had 2 strikers.
Yeah.
If we set up the same as we did against City, with Romero and VD at the back, I think you see a better performance than what you saw against City.
Exactly.
In the last game. I think we'll wipe the floor with Fulham. If we play like we did against City, we have our best centre-backs. I don't think they've got a chance.
With everybody playing how they're meant to play, how they know best to play, I've said it enough times. You can take a pretty average team, but if you get them all playing to their perk, what they are best at, sink it in properly, whatever way you want me to put it, get the right formation and get every player playing to what they're best at, you can make a bang average team look fucking good. You really can. And that is what we done the other day, because we haven't got a brilliant team. No, not at all. But I think the team is significantly better than what it shows to be as such. And I think that is down to Ange, where he keeps playing them. I mean, what is it you say? Square pegs, round holes, or whatever way you want to put it round. And I feel he does do that a lot. But the other day, playing everybody where they was meant to be and what they were best at, especially the wing backs and the centre backs, it just showed we look 10 times more the team than we do when we're sitting up front. I mean, what I want to go to is, someone mentioned it on the side as well. I mean, we're talking about strikers. Solanke.
Yeah.
What sort of game do you think he had?
Can I just add something quickly just before, when you say they played well, the fullbacks? I think Udogie had a terrible game against City.
Yeah.
That's just
No,
my
I wouldn't
opinion.
say
I
terrible.
won't say terrible, but he was just okay in a way.
No, I was not
It
impressed
wasn't
with him.
spectacular or nothing, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
say he had a terrible game. I don't think no one had a terrible game.
Just passing wise, like I would play Spence the next game, Spence and Poro, but that's just my opinion.
Spence cannot take the pressure. Like
I don't. I would
How
try
do
on
you
him.
know that though, Elias? How do you know that?
Exactly. We don't know.
we have seen it before. Like whenever you play him in Prem, he literally doesn't do anything. We have seen there's a reason why no manager plays him in the Prem. You would only see him. He's a cup level or Europa League level type of player. Whenever he comes in Prem, he is running around just like a headless chicken. We have seen that before when Conte played him. Even like a few times when he has come on as a sub as well, he hasn't done that job.
He played like 5 minutes as a sub.
Yeah.
That's a
When
max.
have we actually seen him play a full game? It's like the problem.
Yeah, but
with
there's
the
a reason why he doesn't play those full games, because he just doesn't do anything on the field. Like he has played more
Yeah,
than that.
but when have you seen him play a whole game?
Whole game, because he's not capable of playing a whole game, in my opinion.
How do you know that if you aren't seeing him play the game?
You can't judge us, Elias. You can't.
Yeah, but there's a reason why he's not starting, right? We have had injuries before as well.
Okay, they
Yeah,
played.
because we've got because we're agnostic, Detrex, because we've got a Doji and Poro there, fine. But there's been reasons then why Dragusin hasn't been starting. But he's been pretty solid when we've brought him on and played him as a centre back, not a ball playing defender. When have you seen Spence play enough? Say 3 games on the trot
have been
to
games
actually
He
get
has
in.
played like 20 minutes, 25 minutes before. He has not done well.
I think he's been all right when he's come on, but what's 20, 25 minutes here and now? That's going to make a player worse to an extent. I mean, look what he's done with Archie Gray. It's definitely done him no fucking favours. Until a player gets to play at least 3-4 games consistently, he's not going to get into the sync of playing properly on the pitch, because training is a whole different game to playing the game of football.
It was the difference. It was the difference against Coventry. I know it was against Coventry, but it was the difference in that game. He did,
yes,
you know, and he only come on for what, half hour, was it, 20 minutes? But you know,
but when
I think he'll get his chance. He'll get his chance throughout the season.
Exactly. Well, I won't say exactly.
I mean,
I don't know. But when have we seen him play 3 consistent games to actually judge him on how good he is or isn't? 20 minutes here or there. Can you really judge a player on that?
I think he'll play against Roma. I think
he played 45 minutes against Manchester United, actually.
And he played well. He actually played well.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know why Spurs. I've got no idea why he's at Spurs. We bought him years ago. He's signed a new contract. He doesn't get minutes. He barely plays. I have no idea. Do you know what? He's becoming another Carter's Vickers. Just somehow lingering around the club, never plays. It makes no sense to me. This guy never features, and if he does, it's 10-minute rolls, 15-minute. What? Why are you at the club, man? You're not 17, 18 trying to break in the first team. How old is Spence now? 22?
23.
23, isn't he?
Yeah, 23.
He's 23. He's not even in the Europa Cup squad.
He's just signed a new contract still. He's just signed.
Yeah.
Do you know what that says to me? That says to me he can't get a better salary elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, we're offload him to someone else. Is what you're effectively saying.
If I was Spence, I've got 2 choices. Where can I get the most money, whether I play or not? Or where can I go and actually play football? And he's chosen to stay at Spurs, where I'm not really going to play, but you know what? I'm getting paid. What does that tell you about the player?
That he's just there for money.
Yeah, that's how it looks to me.
What players aren't these days? Like I've said, the majority of players are mercenaries these days. This is a job to a lot of players now. It's not as for the passion as it used to be. It is a job to a lot of players now. But I think people are right on what he's saying. He doesn't play.
Dan, if Van der Ven, Romero, Maddison, these types of players weren't getting regular minutes, mate, they're gone at the end of the season. They're gone. They're not hanging around for that, because they know I can get paid the same and another club will easily take me and I will get to play football. Whereas
They'll have clauses. They'll have clauses in their contract to say whether they'll be first team players or, you know, key players at the club or, you know, squad rotation. They'll They'll have these sort of clauses in their contract.
Wait, is
You
it
know,
me or there's an audio problem?
Spence, when he come to the club, he wouldn't have been expected to play every single week. He would have been told that, you know, he's a squad rotation player.
When he came to the club, Phil, that time we were having like serious right back crisis when Emerson Royal was piss poor and Spurs fans wanted a new right back. But when he came in, Conte didn't play him. Then we had to get Porro in the January.
Conte didn't want him.
Yeah, Conte didn't want him.
But
there was a real crisis going on in terms of the right back position that time, because we sold someone just before that as well. Like, was it that
Doherty?
Doherty. We sold Doherty that time.
I think Spurs agreed to give him a new contract because the wages are cheap. It's a cheap player to have at the club for Spurs. So if I've got a player who's happy to sit on the bench, hardly ever play. If both my fullbacks are injured, right, we've got Spence. He's on what, 40, 50 grand a week? Happy days. Whereas if we went and got a proper player that would compete for the left and right back role, that's going to cost us what, 70, 80, 100 grand maybe?
That's a poor decision from the club on their part, because
that's what we always do.
We're keeping a player on fucking cheap wages, right? Where we could fill that spot with a top quality player. You know what I mean?
But you know,
he's taking up the space.
We don't sign quality players. Van der Ven was
a player, an upgrade on Spence is what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I mean?
But then you've got to spend 40, 50 grand on the player. You've got to give the wages of 100, 120k a week. That is everything that Tottenham do not do under Levy. And the manager has to work under that. And Ange has accepted that. So that's why Spence has got this new contract. Everyone's signed off on it. But if I was Spence, from a player perspective, what the fuck are you doing with your career, man?
But still, do you realize he's making 50k a week, the same as Mickey Van der Ven?
Yeah, but that Van der Ven contract the agent will be on top of that very soon, because there'll be clubs knocking on the door. There'll be clubs knocking on the door. It's a matter of time.
Oh, my kitchen is bloody cold.
Yeah, but the reason for the Spence fund is it's also homegrown, so that's why I think we have that quota.
Yeah, that is a point. But then he's just a waste of a player, then, isn't he?
From the club's perspective, I totally get why they've kept him. If I'm Tottenham, this is great. This is brilliant. But if I was Spence, because when I started talking on this, if I was Spence, what's my motivation? Clearly, your motivation is purely money. You're not interested in your career. And I think players that do the best are players that they want to be winners in their career. The money comes with that. The money naturally comes with that. I don't think he's driven to be a top football player. Otherwise, he would not have stayed at Spurs.
If you can have them sort of players at the club style, right? How is the mentality going to change? The mentality of the club is not because we haven't won trophies for so long, and the kids like then at the club. How's the mentality going to change?
Good. Your mic's got a lot worse again.
Yeah, Phil, your mic is pretty bad.
No,
I'm just saying, how is the mentality going to change if you keep players like Spence?
I think that's a fair point. When you're keeping players at a club that are genuinely just, some players can be there just for the money and you can accept it because they're fucking good. Other players, it's almost like they shouldn't have that privilege to be there just for the money because they ain't good.
We have another issue, like Sergio Reguilon. He's still around at the club. He doesn't play. He's not even on the bench.
He's willing.
And his wages are
willing to cut his contract in January. I've been reading. There's something I've got written here. He's willing to just cut his contract, not get paid to cancel it or nothing. He's willing to just literally chuck it up and wants to get away.
I'll be happy for him because he's a good left back who is just getting wasted at this club.
Do you know what? I'd love to understand this. People in the comments saying Spence is a good player. Right, I'm not saying he's not, but I want to understand based on what. What are you basing that analysis on? If you said to me, Kulu's a good player, I'd say based on what? And you'd say, right, look at the amount of assists this year, look at the successful dribbles, look at the metrics of midfielders. He's in the top 5 percentile in the league. There's so many metrics you could say Kulu is a good player. Say, do you know what? Yeah, okay. I get where you're coming from. What are you basing Spence being a good player on? I'm not saying he's not a good player. I want to understand Where
He's
do we
average.
where do we get this from? Where do we get this?
The only thing I would say he's good is going forward and dribbling. That's the
you
only
Yeah,
basing
but
thing.
he
that on?
always loses the ball to Bruce.
Dietrich, what are you basing that on?
For
But
the
so does
amount of minutes,
Adogi.
yeah, for the amount of minutes he has, like he still scored a goal, like a vital goal that got us into the next round.
Okay, so based on a game against a championship team that made 7 changes, he's good.
Yeah, and Genoa. I'm basing on true, and when he played for Genoa, when I saw Dragusin and him.
I'm talking about Spence as a Premier League player.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
are we
I'm basing off one game. Yeah, just one game.
Okay, so
That's very less.
That's not enough. It's not enough. But I'm just saying, like from what I've seen, I can see he's a good player going forward. But is he consistent? I don't know.
So
His performances in the championship is what he's got.
Therefore, based off of the Man City game, that one game, Ben Davies is an outstanding centre back.
I don't think Ben Davies had a good, amazing game against City. I think he
I
made a lot
think
of
he had a
mistakes.
very good game.
What I'm saying to you is, based off of that one game where we kept a clean sheet, he put the blocks in, did his job well. Based off that one game, then Ben Davies is it must be out. He's a good player then. Yeah.
I never said Spence is a good player. I just said he's good going forward. I never said he's a good player.
Okay, so based off the Man City game, then Ben Davies is a good defender, good centre back. Yeah?
Well, he's a good man-to-man defender. Yeah.
Okay, so we should keep him then. We should keep Ben Davies at the club because he's good then.
No. I never said we should keep Spence or Ben Davies. I never said that.
But hold on. If you're good, why would you want to get rid of a good player?
Because I want a consistent, what's it called, like a challenger, and I know Spence is not gonna.
Surely, if you're good, you're consistent. That's why you're good, no?
No, he's good at one thing, but overall, no, he's not. But he's good at one thing. Ben Davies.
That's a small sample size, though. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So Spence only being good at one thing then means you're not good enough to be in that position, and you're only good at one thing.
Well, from what we have, we don't like. I'd rather see him than Udogi because Udogi's not good at anything.
Detrex, the point I'm making is, if we're going to go off one game that a player plays in, then you've got to do the same for every player, including the ones that you know is shit. That's my
Unfortunately, yes, yeah.
Okay, that's idiotic, isn't it? That's like
I
saying,
know,
Fraser Forster, he was brilliant in that game. Freaking hell, keep him as the backup.
No. I don't. No. Because we've put ourselves in a situation we don't have a choice. If I was the chairman, I would never give Spence a contract. I would never keep Ben Davies. I would get better. But right now, we don't have a choice.
But off of one game, they're good players.
No, they're good at one thing. I never said they're good players. No, good player for me. You're good at everything.
I don't think anyone can say anything about Jed Spence. No one knows what this guy's like. None of us know.
Don't.
We haven't got a clue. Same as Bergvall, same as Archie Gray. We haven't got
we have got a clue that his performances in the championship. We do know how he played there because he played there quite a lot and putting good performances on a consistent basis. That's what got him the move.
Yeah,
but if we're going to judge him, if we're going to judge him on being a Premier League player, we haven't got a sample size to judge him on.
Well, that's the point. So we don't know. We don't know if they're good or not. We have got no idea. Like Oliver Skipp was Championship Player of the Year when he was on loan at Norwich. So we literally don't know with these players. Yet we say things like good player. Oh, you can see he's good. Based on what?
They're punts. They're punts, basically.
Yeah, Dan, can I share screen? I want to show something about Jed Spence.
Yeah,
I've shared already, so you need to bring it up. Yeah, it's at the bottom there. Yeah, so this is Jed Spence stats against fullbacks in Premier League and some leagues of his caliber. Like to me, the only things that he's good at, like blocks, clearances, and aerials won. And other than that, he's pretty average actually overall. But Detrex, you were saying that he's good in his final third. The final third.
No, I said he's good dribbling his man, but when it comes to final ball, no, he doesn't have it.
So dribbling would be
he's really good at dribbling.
Detrex, what the fuck is he good at, man?
Like seriously.
No, honestly, the only
keep taking bits away. No, I never said he's good at dribbling. No, he's good just at one-on-ones. I know he's good.
No, because you don't listen. Because your brain, you don't listen. Wait.
Calm down.
I said he's good at carrying the ball and dribbling, but when it comes to final third, which is like passing wise, he's not good.
He's average. I don't think we've seen enough of him to even judge him to an extent. I mean, the times he's played 15, 20 minutes, 5 minutes here and there, I think he's looked respectable on the pitch. But you can't really judge a player on that. That's when we go back to, and I'm not going to go into a whole debate about it. Well, I don't have to worry about it. Ian's not here. With Archie Gray, can we judge him fairly on what we've seen him do? Because he hasn't even played in his fucking position. We can't even really judge him fairly, can we? So how can we judge Spence even fairly?
Actually, we can judge Archie Gray.
When he hasn't played more than, he has not played a 90-minute game for Spurs, has he? Like, in how long?
I think Ange has brought Gray into the club. I think he's brought Gray into the club being an inverted fullback. That's what he's brought him in for. Because he obviously going into midfield from a right back position, he thinks he's comfortable there. But positionally, for me, he's nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. You know, as a midfielder, that's more his. It's more his style. He's more suited to that.
I think if you're 23 years old, you've been at a club now for 2-3 years, and you've seen lots of new players come in, and they're starting ahead of you, and you can't break into that first team, I would comfortably say you're not actually that good.
I'd agree.
Because, you know, Archie Gray, I think, has had more game time in the Premier League. Mikey Moore got a start. Has Spence had a start? Yes. Mikey Moore got a start, right? So I'm just thinking, if you had something about you, you'd be playing, man. Surely you'd be playing.
Wait, at what age did Kane start playing for us? How old was he?
22, wasn't it?
Yeah, so roughly the same age as Spence. And everyone thought he was terrible.
At the end of the day, he's nothing special, and we should have better competition there for Doji, who has got literally no competition there whatsoever except Archie Gray and Spence, who can't even get a start at the best of times, and are lucky if they even get 10 minutes on the pitch when you're 4-0 up. Do we agree on that?
I was gonna come to this topic. If we were to get Porro and Udogie injured, what do we have to cover for them actually this season?
We don't. Well, about the only cover we've got on the left, good cover we've got on the left, is sticking Van der Ven out on the left. That is the good cover we have on the left.
Yeah.
That is the only good cover we have there, because that is where he played first off before he started playing centre-back, and he also still played that when he was captain of Holland under-21s. So we've got covered there, but then we leave ourselves open in the middle. But then again, it depends how we play. If we're playing up on the halfway line, you need Van der Ven there. If we're playing more sensible, the way we played the other day, then we can cover our arse. But on the right-hand side, we're definitely...
So keep this comment up a minute. I need to educate Stephen.
Yeah. Go for it.
Porro's undroppable. That's why Jed Spence is a right back, not a left back. Porro gets dropped for pretty much every Carabao Cup game, and Spence doesn't start in that position. And Porro doesn't hardly play in Europe, and Spence wasn't selected to play in the Europa Cup team. I don't understand where you get this from. We literally say things, and I don't know where we get it from. Archie Gray has started ahead of Spence as a wing back far more than Spence has ever started. So either the manager's shit and he can't see that Spence is actually better than Gray, or we've signed a player that's come in that pushes Spence even further down the pecking order, which kind of suggests Spence isn't that good. Otherwise, why are we bringing players to play in that position when we've got one at the club already?
No,
I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I can totally agree with you. I think it's a waste of a space in that bit. I was just playing devil's advocate with you, Elias. Simple as that. Because we haven't actually even seen him play, but then there is a reason to it. Because he just
really isn't droppable in the Premier League. He's undroppable then. In the Europa League, obviously, there's rotation.
Porro is only undroppable because we have no one to back him up, Phil.
Exactly.
Yeah. True. But Spence is a right back in the Championship. That's where he best played. Do you know what I mean? But we shoehorn him in a position where he's not comfortable. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, like Stel said, if I was Spence, I'd be getting out of the club. I'd be wanting to move elsewhere so I can get first team football. But
Well, that's when you know someone goes on their career. And just something here, Dutchy Dutch, tinted glasses. I wish they were, mate. I wish they were. But right, so what I'll go to on the next bit here, yeah? I mean, that defence we had looked a lot more solid. The wing-backs looked a lot better. The midfield looked better. Goalkeeper, I think, had an excellent game. Probably one of the best games I've seen him play for Spurs because he actually looked commanding in the air on dead balls as well. Solanke. Who is this player? What is he? What is he actually meant to do for us? Apart from, obviously, he's a striker, but he seems to be there to do a bit of everything. What does Ange really want this man to do? Because I do get a bit confused with it sometimes because I see him here, there, and everywhere. And there's been quite a few times I've seen it up the pitch and he's not there. And then other times him holding the ball as a target man and distributing it to people. And what is his actual role there?
that's his game, Dan, is being a target man, bringing others into play. You know, he hasn't been a prolific striker all through his career. You know what I mean? He's had one good season where he scored 19 goals. Yeah, granted, but he's never been a prolific striker. So he's been brought in to be a target man, to bring others into play, to, you know, in the transition. You know, that's his game. You know, to hold up play. You know, if we do
Players more of a
20
target
plus
man,
goals,
basically.
yeah, if we do get 20 plus goals out of him, that's a bonus. You know, and to be fair, as a 65 million striker, you expect that. You expect him to get 20 plus goals a season in all comps. You know, so if he doesn't yeah, go on.
That's where I'm asking. So basically, the idea of us getting him when we said we need an out and out goal scorer. If anything, we're doing a bit of what Liverpool used to do and holding back as a bit of a Firmino for the wingers or inside forwards, whatever you want, to come in and set up or score the goals, basically.
We've gone down a totally different route. When we had Kane, he was a 30 goal striker a season. You know, Solanke is not that. He's never been that, and I don't think he'll ever be that. But if we can manage to get 20 plus goals out of him, you know, in all comps, and for him to, you know, bring his strengths, which is hold the ball up and bring others into play, then that's what we brought him in for. But we haven't brought Solanke in to be a prolific striker for Tottenham.
But that was what we were saying we needed.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. I would have gone down to the room.
Your mic's gone again, totally, mate. I can barely understand you. Your mic's gone again, totally.
Is it better?
No, mate, your mic's done. Seriously, the crackling on
No,
it.
it comes from his
even
headphones.
understand it.
It's his headphones the problem.
So Solanke,
I don't
think he had a good game.
rate it. I don't.
I don't think he's.
you.
I don't,
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's quality. I think he's all right. Was he worth 65 million? Not to me, not at the moment. But I've heard a lot of people talk about him like he's the next best thing since sliced bread, basically. Yes, I think he's had some more than respectable games for us. But do I think he was that out and out 20 goal scorer that everyone was saying we needed? No, I don't. But then again, it does seem to be working with him playing as a target man, doesn't it?
Does it?
It seems to be working. We're
In
still getting
some
goals up
ways-
there.
Where was it against Brighton, Palace, Ipswich, Arsenal?
You
Where
could
was
say
it?
that about the whole team.
Yeah, but he's
That
the
is half
striker.
the
that
problem
scores
with
the
our
goals, right?
inconsistency.
But we create chances in those games. I think what's
Fair point.
happened is we all said Son
point.
can't be the striker, right? We all said Son can't be the striker. He's not a striker. We need a striker. Richarlison isn't it? So we bring in Solanke, and everyone said, oh, look at him. He scored 19 goals last year. He scores goals. Now we've got a striker. He comes in. Now we're saying, oh, he's not here to score goals. He's here to hold up the ball, to work hard, link up the play. Mate, you're a striker. You need to score goals. Every striker's job is to score goals. Now, whether you can link up the play, press, drop deep, and do other stuff, we had that conversation earlier, Haaland versus Lewandowski and Kane. But all of those players score goals. Solanke, he doesn't get the goals, right? let me. Do you know what? In fact, I'm sure I've got it somewhere here. All right.
Certain type of player, though, Stel, the way we play.
Well, at Bournemouth, he was fine, right? These are the
Very
top
true.
goal scorers. These are the top goal scorers in the Premier League. Haaland on 12, Salah on 10, Mbuemo 8, Chris Wood 8, Cunha 7, Jackson 7, Palmer 7, Wissa 7, Delap 6, Watkins 6, Welbeck 6. Okay, it's fair to say before the season started, Wood, Cunha, Jackson, Delap, and Welbeck shouldn't be above Solanke. They're all above Solanke, all of them. So, okay, Solanke's missed a couple of games for injuries, but so some of those players there as well. And Buemo's missed, Woods missed, Wissa missed through suspension, Welbeck's missed for injury. So they're all above him. What we do, what I think's happening with Solanke is this: because he works hard and because he presses really well, we're like, yeah, brilliant. And we're kind of allowing him to get away with not scoring goals. And then we say things like, oh, but do you remember against Newcastle when that ball got whipped in and Son didn't make the run and everyone did all those screenshots and circling Son and doing that arrow of where Son should have run? If Solanke was there, he'd get onto the end of that. Well, he's come back and he's not. So
It's very true.
I think he's an average striker that's doing average things, but because he works really hard and he presses really well, everyone's using that as a reason to justify him being our number 9. Mate, he doesn't score.
I mean, that's why I was asking, what is his role really? What do people expect of him, or what does Ange really want him to do? Does Ange really want him there to just be the target man, to hold it up for everyone, to get all over the pitch? When he was saying we needed an out-and-out striker. Go on, Elias.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. Like, if a striker is not scoring goals, at least he needs to have some form of creativity. Like, you can actually release the wingers. He doesn't even do that very well as well. If you notice the game this week, there was a moment Kulusevski was making a run on the right and Brennan Johnson was on the left, totally free. Instead of passing the ball to Brennan Johnson, he passed the ball to Kulusevski, and Kulusevski had a man on him. Brennan Johnson was running free. If Brennan Johnson would have gotten the ball there, he could have scored the goal very easily. But he instead passed the ball to Kulusevski. That, for me, was like one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in football. Like, you had a man on one, and one man is totally free running. Like, how can he do that? And he had an option. He looked at both, actually, and he released the ball onto Kulusevski.
Can I just jump on to what Stel was saying about Solanke? We brought him in, and Ange has brought him in, right, because he suits the way we play with the press, right? He's number 1 at pressing in the Premier League of any other striker. So he's been brought in for that reason. You know, if he gets goals, you know, if he gets 20 plus goals a season, that's a bonus for Ange, in my opinion. But I know he's a 65 million striker, and you expect a striker to score, you know, 30 plus goals a season. But he hasn't been brought in for that, solely for that. He hasn't. There's different attributes to his game, right? And pressing is one of the main attributes that that Ange needs in his system to work, right? And that's why he's been brought in. You know, that's the reason why I think that you know, Ange has brought him in.
Okay, Phil. So when he got a chance 1-on-1 against Arsenal and missed, it's okay because he's there to press. It wasn't to put the ball in the back of the net and get the equaliser against Arsenal. When he had chances in the first game against Leicester, one was a close range header, another one was a close range shot, and he missed both. It's okay because he's there to press, and he should have won the game for us, and he didn't. I can give you scenarios this season where Solanke has a chances to score, and it either puts us back in the game or wins it for us, and he hasn't. And what effectively you're telling me is that's okay because he's been brought into press. Mate, that cannot be okay. We cannot accept that.
It's not just his pressing. He holds the ball up. He brings others into play.
Okay, but I've given you scenarios where the ball has come to him to either equalise or win the game because he's the striker and the striker's the one that's in those positions, and he hasn't scored those chances. But what you're saying is that's not why he's here, mate. But that's what you said.
I know where you're going with this, right? I know where you're going with it.
No, I'm telling you what's happened and what you're saying.
Yeah, this is his first season still in the for Tottenham in the way we play. I know he's been in the Prem for a while now, but
so next season he would have been brought in to score goals next season then.
No, but I expect him to. We don't know how many goals he's going to get this season, right? So I expect him to go one better next season in his goal ratio. Right?
But he's not been brought in for that. He's been brought in to press.
Yes, I know. That's my reason behind it. Yeah.
So why are they passing the ball to him to take the shots then? Give it to someone else.
I think Ange has already come out and said that he wanted just a specific striker for his system, right? And Solanke fit that profile, right, down to a T, and that's because of his pressing and his hold-up play, right? He would have known that Solanke is not a prolific striker in the Premier League with his goal ratio, right, in history.
One season, only one season. When he was at Liverpool, he played 20 games and he scored a goal, and I think he got an assist.
So managers look at these. The recruitment team would have looked at that, but Ange wants a specific striker which fits the bill, right? If he gets goal, for me, I want a prolific striker. I want a Harry Kane. I want 30 goals a season, but that's not me. That's Ange wants a prolific.
Okay, Phil, can we agree on something then? Can we agree on something?
Go on.
The games we've lost, where Solanke's missed chances to either equalise or win it for us, can we agree 100% it's all on Ange because he signed a striker that's here to press and not score that winning goal? Do we agree on that?
I think that's a solid point.
Yeah, I agree with that. Fair
play. If we can agree on that, fair play.
I'll agree with that. I can't not agree with that. To be honest with you, I think
you can't really defend that one.
No, you can't. He's brought in a striker that fits, that he thinks will benefit the team. With his attributes, he's brought him in for that. With his goals, he would have known that he wasn't a prolific striker. He would have known that. And that, he's brought him in to do a specific role, and not.
Or is he just? Or did he bring him in because he couldn't get no one else?
Well, we don't know that, do we? I don't think he was his number one, was he? I think he's come out and said that he wasn't.
No, he said that it was his first choice and he wanted him from day one.
Do you know what's funny, right? If you look at the league table right now, if Solanke was clinical and took those chances that I said, would be second in the league right now. But Ange wants a different profile. All right,
I'll go back to this though. Still, right? It's his first season. I know it's not his first season in the Prem, but you have to give players time to adapt in certain, with different styles and different managers. You have to give players time, and I think I judge a player on their second season. For me. I don't go too quick in saying a player is not good enough for the club.
So Solanke needs a second season to score from 6 yards.
Right, every striker misses like that.
He's missed a lot. He's got the third worst XG in the Premier League. He's done it a lot. Are we saying he needs and none of his shots come from the edge of the box or from distance? They're close range efforts that he's missed, and we're saying he needs 2 years. Listen, Phil, I think you're being super generous to him on the goal scoring side of things. I think you're being ultra generous to him on this. I think he's an average striker.
A bit more time than just how many games he played this season. Stuff. How many games?
I think he's an average striker that should be doing far better in terms of shot conversions than what we're seeing.
You base that on, right, his history as a striker in the Premier League. You haven't. You're not really like.
But that's how you judge someone. That's your CV.
Yes, that's 100% right. Well, I'm judging him at Tottenham Hotspur. I'm judging him at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment.
Okay.
I haven't seen a massive sample size to say that he's not good enough for Tottenham at this moment in time. I think he brings a lot to the team, and goals isn't one of them at this moment. but he can change that throughout the season. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but,
So
but
I'll
you know, you're right, but we're going by right now, right? Right now,
yeah.
he's not doing it in front in terms of goals. Listen, I'm
terms
just
of
struggling to
goals,
understand. Like
yeah.
Chris Woods, it's his first season at his club, and he's on 8 goals. He's 4 ahead of Solanke, right? Chris Woods, why doesn't he need the second season? Haaland's at his club already. Salah's at the club, and Buemo. Is it Buemo's second season yet? Cunha. I mean, there's players here. Do you know what? I think we're way too generous at Solanke. For me, he should be in the top 10 goal scorers in the Premier League. No ifs or buts. I
don't have the sympathy still of a player going to another club. Right, I get another club. Different country. Now I can give it some leeway. But when you've already played in the Premiership for quite a few years, okay, he was in the Championship for a few as well. I don't think it should take you that long to adapt.
What about
if
getting used to a different style of play, Dan?
Okay, but if you're that much of a good player, you know how to play football. And when you're a striker, score the fucking goals.
Yeah, I get that. But you do have to adapt as a player in different styles for different managers. You do, you know, there is different ways of playing.
I do see where you're coming from.
Your game,
but the reason I asked the question is because I do struggle to understand at times what he was actually bought for. Was he bought to score goals? Was he bought to press? Was he bought to be a target man and hold it? What was he actually bought to do?
Right, Solanke, right, is a replacement for Harry Kane. We're all going to judge, right, Solanke off Harry Kane. Right,
no.
Anyone who judges him off Harry Kane,
I wouldn't do that.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, but some fans might.
Jermaine Defoe got 20 goals a season. Robbie Keane got 20 goals a season. Freddie Canute got 16 goals a season. Any half-decent striker in an attacking team that creates as much as we do should be scoring more than Solanke. We've scored the most goals in the Premier League. Solanke should be one of the top scorers.
How many chances have you missed this season?
I told you he's got the third worst XG. He's been bad. Yeah.
But he has missed games as well. He's had injuries as well. Look, right.
So Heung-Min Son, they've scored the same amount of goals, and Son plays on the left.
Yeah, Solanke wasn't my number one. He wasn't my number one. But I'm going to give him at the end of the season to sort of give him a chance to sort of, you know, he might get 20 plus goals this season. I wouldn't rule it out. Do you know what I mean? With the way you play.
But now, Phil, going by now, look, if the end of the season he scores 20 goals, then he's clearly not brought in for pressing, like you say. He's brought in to score goals, right? So that goes against what you said.
So twist it round, like.
But it's right. I mean, I was just asking the question on what he's about. Right, there's 2 more bits I want to go to before I shut up shop. And Sarr, another one. What a game he had. I thought he had an excellent game.
Brilliant game.
Do you think Ange is actually starting to understand, and maybe even Sarr is actually understand what is his ideal role on the pitch? Because he's another one that I seem to look at times and think, is he that sort of player? Is he box to box? Is he better as an attacking midfield central? What is his best all-round game? Because he definitely had a very good game the other day.
I'll let Detrex, I don't know if he's still here, but he can have a say on that.
Detrex, you there? No, I'll take that as a no then.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I think he just looks best as a box-to-box. He's got a lot of energy in him. He's good at running with the ball. He'll take a shot here and there. I don't think he's the best overall passer of the ball, but he's just very good at box-to-box, and I think he's got a lot of stamina on him.
He brings that energy in midfield, doesn't he, Dan? You know, he's a totally different player to Basuma, totally different to Bentancur. You know, he just brings hard work in that midfield, and I think, you know, he's got that over anyone that we have at the club in terms of midfielders. But I think Basuma and Sarr is a good mix. I think that's the midfield 2 that we should go with. I think Basuma in that deep playmaker role suits him, and Sarr in front of that is just a good blend. It's a good balance, and then obviously you've got Kulu and Madison, whichever one you interchange. But yeah, I mean that's the way I would set up going forward.
I mean, it's just for me, Sarr, again, I've just found him a very strange player on what. I mean, does he even know what he's best at? Does he even know his best position? Because we do seem to try him out in, I say, a lot of different roles. Maybe that's a wrong way to put it, but I don't know. For me, he's just a hard player to judge of what is his ideal position. What is his ideal style of play? I find it quite hard to.
He's a box to box, Dan. He does the defensive style, and he can grab a goal as well. You know,
yes, he can.
We've seen him grab a goal. You know, 1 or 2 goals. I'm sure he scored 2 this season. I think 2 or 3. You know, he's good at going forward as well and driving with the ball. But I just think we haven't got that type of midfielder other than Sarr. I think he's the only one that can do that in the number 8 position. I think Bentancur's a 6, and Bissouma's the same. But we haven't got a box-to-box midfielder other than Sarr.
Whereas Bissouma is box-to-box. He is not a DM. No chance. He never has been. He's covered it now and again, but he was more of a box-to-box going forward as such. And he covered the DM nicely at Brighton, but most of the time he was more of an 8, a box-to-box. But yeah, Sarr I mean, I think he had an excellent game, without a doubt. But it just, like I said, I'm just still struggling to work out what his ideal role is. Okay, as a number 8, is he more of a number 8 of covering at the back, or is he a number 8 at getting forward like Bissouma? I just keep seeing bits and bobs off him in games where he looks better at doing it that way, and then the next game he looks better at doing it the other way. I just find him quite a strange player to work out.
He's got the stamina to do both. He can do both. He can do both styles of the game. You know,
he is an engine.
He can do
no 2 ways about it.
Yeah,
he is an engine. No 2 ways about it. The man has got
20,
stamina.
He's only 20 as well.
Yeah, he's got the stamina. No 2 ways about it. Right, last bit I'll go to. We got 2 games coming up. Roma, Fulham. What do we do? Stel, what do we do with these 2? How do we do it?
You have to rotate against Roma because we can't afford any more injuries, and we can't afford to play Fulham, who are going to get a week's rest after a 4-1 win that they're going to want to, a 4-1 loss that they're going to want to correct. Can't go into that game looking tired. And this is something that's happened to us after Europa Cup games in the past. So I think he has to rotate. You can't play Lancashire because he's suspended, but I would start Werner, I'd start Johnson. If he's got to go Solanke, so be it. I'd start Bergvall, I'd start Gray. I'd start defense we might not have a choice, right? Because of injuries. So he's got to go Dragusin and Davies, he has to. Vicari, I don't think whether it matters. Vicari can play. And then the wing back positions would be an interesting one because Adogi, I think, needs a break. But I think as many changes as he can, he should make. Yes, I know if we win this game, it pretty much secures qualification, but we can't afford another injury. We can't afford more fatigue because Fulham aren't a bad side. And I think we're equal points.
They're not mugs.
They're not mugs, right? We should be beating Fulham at home. I expect us to beat Fulham at home. But if we go into that game suddenly, Maddison's injured. Dragusin's injured. We've got problems, man. And there's only so many problems you can deal with. I would make as many changes as I can. I think we're good enough to beat Roma with a weakened team. Roma are 12th in the league. They've had an absolutely dreadful season.
Yeah,
they lost.
They're on their 3rd manager.
They knew managers.
They gave Napoli not a bad game, though.
Yeah, but they lost.
I mean, Napoli did struggle with them a bit. And just with this one, Dutchy Dutch, you said Haaland's shit because he only scores goals. I don't think anyone used the fucking phrase that he's shit. I just said that I don't think he's world-class. He's just world-class at what he does.
They make it up.
Just making a point. And like I say with Son, he was never an overall world-class player for me. He was just world-class at finishing. What you call world-class, what I call world-class, it's all opinionated. different things. I agree with what you said there, Stel. We've got to make the changes. We've got to rotate. And again, when it comes up against Fulham, we have to win that game. Because for me, if we don't win that game against Fulham, to me, it makes the City game irrelevant.
Or Dan,
Just
it will
like
all
it did
kick off
in the
again.
game.
It'll all kick off. The Ange out brigade will get louder. Fans will call for Ange inconsistency. It's just circles, man. Just going around in circles. You got to beat Fulham. You're right. You're 100% right. We have to beat Fulham, man.
It's a risky one, though.
That is a must.
It is a risky one because I think we do need to beat Roma. I think Ange may go a little bit stronger than what you think, though. Still, I think he'll want to put this to bed as early as possible. So with the remaining games that he has to play in the Europa League, then he can rotate for definite because he knows he's qualified. So I think he might go a little bit stronger than what you think.
Yeah, I could understand why he would, because it would basically sort it out for us, wouldn't it? Like then it's done and
I don't know how many
dusted pretty
points
much.
we actually need. I don't know how much.
I think technically we only need to win one and draw one. Just on this one here, what Leslie has said here. Did Son not score more goals in some seasons than Kane from open play minus Kane's penalties? Why is it with Kane people always bring up, yeah, but he scores penalties? They're fucking goals, aren't they? And I'd seem to see that's a dig that a lot of people like to take out Harry Kane. Well, I'd love to see someone be as clinical as Kane on penalties. Not that he can do that.
Dan, who cares? Who cares? What is this imbecilic comment? Son and Kane have been the two best strikers his club's had in the last 10 odd years. Who cares? Mate, yeah, okay. Son's better, cool. Okay, Kane's better. I don't care.
Whatever turns you on at the end of the day. If it gets you wet, it gets you wet. There you go. So the last thing I'll ask then, what do you think the scores of the next two games then? What are we going to do with Roma? And then what's the score, do you think, with Fulham?
Go on, Stel.
2-1 win against Roma.
Mm-hmm.
I've got no idea with Fulham, man. I don't know what positions we're going to put players in, what tactics we're going to use, whether Fulham are hurt after that 4-1 loss, whether Spurs come out flying and batter them, whether we put in an absolute stinker and Fulham win it 1-0. I've got no fucking idea, man. Do you know what? I've only got one prediction right this year, and that was that we were going to batter West Ham 4-1. Everything else I've got... I don't know, man. Do you know what?
Guys, I need to shoot. Take care. Like, I'm really busy with something.
All right, then, mate. See you later.
Take care.
I thought you left an hour ago.
No. Just like so many. I'll tell you after show. I'll tell you why. Take care.
See you later, mate.
I'm gonna say we beat Fulham. I'm not gonna predict the score. I'm gonna say we beat Fulham. But do you know what's funny? I the other day I said, do you know what? Go, just you wait. We'll go and beat City, the Etihad. We'll beat Fulham, who are in form, and then we'll fucking lose to Bournemouth and Chelsea and be back to square one. And I did say that. Because that would be typical. I'm going to say we beat Fulham, but I don't know the score.
It's like I said, we'd beat Villa and then probably lose the next game. And that is the only thing you can say about Spurs and Ange this season, which has been consistent, and that has been our inconsistency. And that is the problem. That is why people are going to now sit here, and I think some people are going to sit there and say, right, we've just smashed City. We're going to destroy Roma, destroy Fulham. The Premiership is ours. We're up for the quad. And then all of a sudden we get banged by Fulham and go, fuck, where do we start again? We are so unpredictable. This is where all people are asking for of Ange now is some fucking consistency. And that is the main thing that we lack. And that is the main thing he has lacked as a manager. We have lacked as a club, a team, whatever way you want me to say it, since those first 10 games of last season. We need to start seeing some consistency now. Not being so consistent on being inconsistent. But yeah, I think we can do Fulham. I think we should do Roma 2-1 and Fulham. I think that can be a 2-1 as well. I mean, Phil?
Yeah, I think there'll be close games. I think we'll just edge both of them. I think Rome will be 2-1, and I think Fulham will be 2-1. I'm going to go with us winning the next 5 games as well. I'm going to go as far as that. I think we'll
winning the next 5 games.
Yeah, I think we'll get a result against Bournemouth, Fulham, Southampton. I think we'll just edge Chelsea. And I think that we'll break that 5.
That
run.
is a dangerous comment to make.
I'm just going to put it out there now. I'll put it out there now.
I personally think, like, us playing against Chelsea, you might as well put an old school fucking Ronaldo and Messi there and stick Ronaldinho up front, and they'd still shaft us one way or another. They always do.
I think I'm only saying this just for my own sanity, to be honest with you, because this inconsistency shit is just getting too much. So I'm doing it just for a bit
hope,
of
basically hope,
positivity. So, but nah,
toxic positivity, yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, right, I'm going to drop it there because I've got a couple of things I need to do. Cheers for coming on, Phil, Detrex, Elias, James. Stel, where do we catch up?
Tonight, Tottenham away, 8:30. We've got a Monday show as always. Tonight's show is going to be a cracker. It's called Conte Ball Destroys Man City. Let everyone enjoy that one. Should be fun.
That should definitely be an interesting one. So, thanks for coming on, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for talking. Give us a quick like and subscribe.
Dan, sorry.
Appreciated. Go on, mate.
Dan, by the way, lots of times we do these shows when people in the comments challenge us and you say, well, come on the show, and they never turn up. So big up to Phil who came on, because I wish more fans would do that so we can debate and discuss rather than it turning toxic and sour. So respect to Phil, man, because we never get to say respect to a fan because they never come on.
Yeah,
they never come on.
It's very right.
It's healthy though, man. It's healthy because in the comments in the chat, you can sort of take it a different way. And I think if you had more people coming on and actually having a healthy debate and not just not attacking the person and attacking the opinion, then I think we'll Spurs fans would get along a lot more. Do you know what I mean? So I hope a lot more people do it.
Yeah. And by the way, Dutch, who told me to.
I just got rid of him.
Yeah, no, I just want to say to him, my mother died 4 years ago, so I hope you live with those wonderful words you shared publicly. Well done.
I only just noticed that at the last minute. And
that's right. I'd like to call them out though for their wonderful words.
So Phil, you'll always be welcome on here. But next time you want to come on here, sort that fucking mic out, mate. It's been a nightmare. All right then, people. Have a good day, everyone.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.